It's Edge Radio Australia. Time for the Greater Wealth. This is a time where, quite frankly, I sit here in great terror because
hello.
Look, hello.
Are you there?
Yes, we can hear you.
I apologise, sir. I didn't know that's what he meant when he said the mics are hot. I just thought he meant that were
I'm not baking cookies, mate.
He's a technophile. He loves his techno, literally.
I'm not a professional broadcaster. I'm not professional at anything. So, I mean, give me a break.
You're surrounded by old radio DJs. You've got no hope. No hope indeed. Speaking of no hope, over there in Vietnam, it's good to say hello to Travis Carter. How are you?
I'm having a blast annoying the shit out of you.
And you do a fine job every single week. Great to
Sorry,
see you,
Derek.
mate.
Annoying the hell out of Aaron.
Oh,
Can we bring that up so we can actually see him?
We can do that. We'll bring him on the big screen. Yeah. But first of all, let's just get things rolling as well. Now, the man to my right, it's Shaq. What can I say? Shaquille Latimer. I'll give him his full official title.
I felt like the audience was feeling like the shows had improved. I wasn't showing up as often. I thought,
the numbers have gone through the roof, mate. Yeah. I'm just saying.
I thought, I can't have that. I better come in and bring it down a few pegs.
Bring us right back down. In fact, I'm going to bring my volume down a little bit because I'm a bit loud. Now, the man who's always, he's not loud. He's just straight to the point. He's the man of education. He's the man of, well, let's face it, common sense when it comes to this bunch of people.
Sorry, can I ask a quick question before we get to Derek's introduction? How are you hearing Travis? You got the headphones on?
I have got headphones on. I've got
one of those? Oh, okay, right. Okay.
There you go. I need my hat, mate. I do. Now, the gentleman I'm talking about, of course, is the man who is behind Blue Sky Factory, the powerhouse behind this show. Of course, it's Derek Whittaker.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm great, mate. I'm great. Now, we've done the intros. They've already gone
sort of.
They've gone pear-shaped. Okay, they really have. So I'm going to throw straight to you, mate. Now, this is an international effort right now. Mr. Carter, he's in charge of bringing all the sexy stuff on the screen as we go. Great to see comments are coming in already, so fantastic info insomnia. I know who you are. Yeah, good to
we know who you are.
We know what you did last
Taz is back.
Hey, Taz, great to have you on board. Let's jump into the show.
Did you miss me, Taz?
Oh, like a hole in the head. All right, now.
Like a stormtrooper.
Boom, boom. Derek, where are we going?
Wow. What has Trump done when he's gone over to the Middle East? It's been interesting to see all the stuff that's gone down over there, doing deals left, right, and center. In fact, we've got a little bit of a meme that's come up. It kind of summarizes, not 100% accurate, but it's close enough when you're talking billions and billions of dollars as to what he's done in terms of deals. If you want to throw that up there, 3 of the different countries. We're talking Saudi Arabia, we're talking Qatar, and we're talking what's the third one? United Arab Emirates.
Yep.
Been to all of those countries and done deals. 600 billion in the UAE, $1.2 trillion as far as the I got to think of the countries here.
The first one's Saudi, Qatar, and the last one's
UAE. So there you go, 1.2 and $1.4 trillion.
Small change. Come on.
This is a big deal. This is almost $6 trillion.
That's almost a weekend.
No, sorry.
You know what this or a divorce settlement, but you know what that is, though, right? Yeah. That is understanding how Arabs think.
Correct.
Right.
Good point.
Like seriously.
Yep.
I remember when I first started trying to do deals over there, and it was just going absolutely bloody nowhere. And there was 2 things that I did. One was I lied.
That's never good.
No, it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. So there was these 2 guys, very, very powerful guys in I won't name the Arab country, but very powerful guys. And I told each of them that the other guy was doing the deal.
Right.
So I said, look, yeah, it's all cool. Don't worry about it. I've already got it. What do you mean you've already got it? I saw the other person's putting the money in. No. They were neither of them were ever going to do the deal.
Right.
They both ended up doing it, and they both gave me a lot more money than I'd asked for. Right.
Okay.
The other thing that I did.
So peer pressure, basically.
Well, they don't want to be outdone by somebody else.
Yeah.
Right. The other thing that I did was I'd had a bit of an argument with somebody who was actually quite powerful, so I shouldn't have ever done this because he was connected to some royal families and stuff like that. I almost got my head chopped off, but I was so annoyed that what I did was I actually paid for the bill.
Okay. Is that a problem? Is it?
Yeah, it is a huge problem because they always pay, especially if they've invited you.
Okay.
So when he went to the bathroom,
Yep.
I paid the bill, right? And he was
Ooh.
so embarrassed and so like, you know,
I have heard this. I've actually heard this.
yeah.
I didn't know
and my
this until-
like handler was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Just the hell with it. I just want to give him a big fu." And yeah, he ended up coming back and wanting to do this deal with me, which he couldn't do because it was done by those other two. Right? So he hassled me for years. I ended up putting him to something else.
Right.
So when you see Trump, he's got 600 billion, 1.2, 1.4, he's still got time. He's still got Oman, Kuwait.
He's got the tour, right?
Exactly. The US debt will be paid off by the time he's finished.
You know, they could pay the entire debt off just by putting a tariff on their lunches, right? That'll do it. Oh no!
Yes, Taz, I admitted to lying on a live stream because that's how business is done, right? Politicians lie, business people lie, and the shack occasionally tells some mistruths.
Oh, look, here's the thing. I've been looking at the media, okay, as I do, and I'm looking at. I cannot believe all the negative carry on. I can't off the top of my head actually roll them out because there's just so many of them. But the negativity about what's been going on in the Middle East. I mean, you know, that small little nuclear war that got stopped in India and Pakistan, like no big deal, right? No big deal.
It's only a few million people's lives.
It's a couple of arguments over a fence, right? No big deal, right? Okay, that's all that is. It is just crazy that the media spin it in such a negative way. Everything I was looking at was, you know, Trump bad, Trump bad, Trump bad. And people believe this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
My God, you've just stopped the chance of another, well, we're living World War III, but, you know, nuclear war, right? There was a great possibility of it. Those two nations used to be one nation. And, of course, you know, there's a lot of, I was going to use the word angst. Angst is not the right word. But, I mean, there's a lot of tension between them for the last 60 years.
A lot of people don't actually understand how close India and Pakistan actually came to triggering World War III. Like, I hate to say, I didn't know that the animosity between the two countries was so great, but with the Belt and Road Initiative, that actually comes through Kashmir. They built the start of it actually on the Indian side of Kashmir, which is under disputed territory. So India they were very likely, considering the animosity between India and China as well, to actually start bombing that whole run. There's like over $600 billion worth of investments in that area from China. So that would have destroyed the entire Belt and Road Initiative. So China wouldn't have had a choice. They would have had to come in and back up Pakistan. And then if that happened, because India is...
I don't think that happened. China's not an idiot.
It got really close to it.
For India.
They started sending all their fighters. So Pakistan is one of the largest buyers of Chinese military equipment, and there's over 14,000 Chinese troops actually in Kashmir.
Right.
Yeah, but I
yeah.
can't see China backing Pakistan over India just because of the sheer size of India. And look, if you're able to put China under communism, how hard could it possibly be to put India under it?
I don't know. I mean, they kind of fought pretty hard for independence a while back there. What is it, 80 years ago?
Really, how's that worked out for them?
So well.
Yeah, they got independence in everyone else's country. It worked
That's
great.
right.
There's some Indians that are like floating around Australia pretending to be white, and there's and the rest of
I
it,
don't know those types.
and the rest of it totally out of there.
But you actually bring up a really interesting point. Like, this is a silly little side note, but I was actually ordering food the other day, about a week ago, and at an Indian place, right? And I said vindaloo, right? Okay,
Yeah.
and I also said
Lamb vindaloo,
brinjal, goat.
goat vindaloo. Oh, you're a French Indian, you are.
No,
I don't know where I'm from, but this bloke.
I'm the real deal, man. Come on. Yeah. So anyway, but I'm getting that. And anyway, the guy looked at me. He says, "Oh yeah, you said vindaloo, right?" And then then he said to me, "I say vindaloo." Now, this sounds stupid, but growing up, we always said vindaloo because it was the English version, and because when Indians came to Australia, they were very embarrassed about their past, right? So they would pretend to be as English as possible. So little words like vindaloo became vindaloo, and we would anglicise as many words as possible. I didn't realise it was a shame thing until I grew older.
Was that a long-winded way of having a crack at me for being British? Is that what that
Yeah,
was?
that's exactly right. Yeah. I worked hard on
The
it.
bit I got distracted with when Aaron says Vindaloo, his head does a little wiggle.
I noticed that as well. I
had to
didn't
stop
know
it. I had to
if
stop
he was impersonating or if he was actually doing the head thing.
No, I was there for my carty, but there you go. Anyway, look, the tensions in those two countries has been going for a very long time. And they split, 45, I think it was, 44, 45, 46, when India became India and Pakistan with a religious...
So if Donald Trump, he didn't get the Peace Prize last time, he'd want to bloody get it this time.
Oh, you'd think so.
Right,
But no, it's not going to
seriously.
happen.
Well, I don't know, that the world's become a bit... I mean, because he won so decisively,
Yeah,
I think the world's become a bit more receptive.
I hope so.
And you remember about 6 to 8 weeks ago, CNN and MSNBC and all those other really trustworthy media outlets
Don't do that when I'm drinking.
started saying, oh, we've done these polls and all the people that voted, a big percentage of the people that voted for him regret their vote.
Oh.
Now, look, obviously none of us are voting, none of us are American. Well, one of us is, but none of us are American. But no, we don't regret it. And hey, I don't regret my support for him.
Yep.
If he screws it up, I'm going to be the first one to say, you know what, back the wrong horse, mate.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of faith in what he's doing. And you know what? He's doing exactly what he said.
Okay.
And just recently, a video surfaced that's been going sort of semi-viral of him doing an interview with Oprah Winfrey 40 years ago.
I know this interview.
And he was talking about tariffs then. So all these left wingers that are like, oh, he never told. Yeah, no, he told you. He's been saying it for decades.
Right.
He said it during his election campaign. He said he was going to have the biggest mass deportation. He said he was going to deal with the trans issue. He said he was going to make sure that world trade was fairer on the United States, etc. He's just signed an executive order saying that the drug companies have to price drugs the same as whatever their most favored nation is.
Okay.
So whatever the cheapest price is. Okay. Now, when he was the president last time, he required the hospitals to publish the lowest amount that they would accept as a payment from any of the health insurers, so that people who went in without health insurance
could pay the same
could
rate.
pay that rate.
Great.
Right? So all these left wingers
communists,
are carrying on about, he's such a terrible person. No, he's not. He's doing a bloody good job.
No, I thoroughly agree. And you might not like everything he does, and you can't like everything he does. But
what don't you like?
Well, I'll take a moment. But geez, it's a struggle actually thinking about it.
He tried to change his hairdo. I didn't like that. Thankfully, he's got back to his normal hairdo.
Why am I not wearing my Trump T-shirt today? I don't know. But okay, last time when Australia voted in Albo, okay, because everyone had been on the drinks the night before, clearly, right?
Only a third of us had.
Only a third of us, exactly. Good old 33% of the population had been on the gear. Anyway, who voted him? Now, for 3 years, he didn't do a single thing that I can see. He certainly didn't bring my power bill down. He didn't do this or whatever. Right? He didn't actually live up to the mandate that he prescribed.
Well, he spent a few $400 million on a voice.
Yeah, and there was that lovely road going to his new house.
Exactly.
I mean, that's expensive. That's
I
got to be done.
don't know what you're complaining about. Brilliant.
I'm such a whinger. Where it goes on this is that if you voted for Donald Trump, you got exactly what you ordered, right?
Yeah.
The man has stood up and he has actually literally followed the path that he said he would. And I love him for it.
Have a look at this footage, and I think it'll answer a few questions as to why he's not always loved by everybody, because he calls them out. Now, listen to what he says over there at Saudi Arabia at their big conference that he had. Check this out.
See this, Travis.
Nations have been unbelievably remarkable. Before our eyes, a new generation of leaders is transcending the ancient conflicts of tired divisions of the past and forging a future where the Middle East is defined by commerce, not chaos, where it exports technology, not terrorism, and where people of different nations, religions, and creeds are building cities together, not bombing each other out of existence. We don't want that. And it's crucial for the wider world to note this great transformation has not come from Western interventionists or flying people in beautiful planes giving you lectures on how to live and how to govern your own affairs. No, the gleaming marvels of Riyadh and Abu Dhabi were not created by the so-called nation builders, neocons, or liberal nonprofits like those who spent trillions and trillions of dollars failing to develop Kabul, Baghdad, so many other cities. Instead, the birth of a modern Middle East has been brought by the people of the region themselves, the people that are right here, the people that have lived here all their lives, developing your own sovereign countries, pursuing your own unique visions and charting your own destinies in your own way. It's really incredible what you've done. In the end, the so-called nation builders wrecked far more nations than they built, and the interventionists were intervening in complex societies that they did not even understand themselves. They told you how to do it, but they had no idea how to do it themselves. Peace, prosperity, and progress ultimately came not from a radical rejection of your heritage, but rather from embracing your national traditions and embracing that same heritage that you love so dearly.
That's why they don't like him, because he calls them out on what they've been trying to do.
So basically, you've been failing for a really long time. Here I come. I'm going to fix this right up. I love him. I tell you what, he annoys me. I wish he'd learned how to speak with, I don't know, some sort of normal cadence. But apart from that, and I used to always say, and I am right now officially going to withdraw something I've been saying for the last, I don't know, we'll say, hang on, what year is it now? Okay, well, last 10 years, that I would never invite Donald Trump to a dinner party, right? Because he would drive me nuts. Do you know what? He is the entertainment. Let's bring him on. Let's bring him on.
He's a lot of fun, and I'll say it off camera. So I was going to say this, or say a couple of things. Firstly, the first part of that speech that he gave, loved Donald Trump, but he stole that from JD Vance.
Did he really?
Like, seriously, I don't know this for a fact, but that's not him. Like, that's not how he speaks, right? So that first bit, that wasn't him. That was like JD Vance had half his speech written, and Donald Trump just stole it. That bit. Thank you very much.
Either that or JD Vance and Trump have got the same script writer.
Very, very, very good read.
and then he sort of went off for a little bit. But I was going to say, if you watch Donald Trump a fair bit, he's tired. You can see he's tired there, right? Not old, tired. And I've been to some of these international events. You've got no idea. Now he's like flown across and all that sort of stuff. And look, he's on one of the most luxurious planes on earth, but time zone differences. You never really sleep that well on a plane. And look, I've had bedrooms on my bed, so I know like you sleep, but it's not quite the same. His schedule would have just been. He would have just met so many people.
He's not very popular.
Can you imagine Biden having done that?
Oh, yes.
Right?
Oh.
And Kamala Harris, or Kamala Harris, you were talking about accents before?
Yeah. Well, it depends which state you're in.
I had a babysitter called Veronica, but I always used to call her Veronica because that was just how I pronounced. I don't know. I was a little kid, right? She never said to me, "Oh, you're racist because you're not pronouncing my name correctly." Yeah. Well, can you imagine Kamala Harris up there?
No.
Carrying on like
yes, I can. Cackling away. That's all she's capable of.
She'd be sitting there.
She would never have got invited. Let's be honest. Kamala Harris would never have been invited.
Kamala Harris.
All of these sort of situations that Trump, all these opportunities that Trump's creating would never have happened if Kamala Harris or even Biden was still in office. So it would be fighting a war, not making trade arrangements.
Well, there's more money in a war, right? Because for your donors there is. So that's the difference. I think in my eyes, the Democratic Party is the party of war.
They call them the Democrat Party because they don't like it.
Really?
Yeah, because they think that Democratic sounds better.
Right.
Right. Bill Maher brought this up with one of the Republicans. He's like, okay, the Republic Party. Right, really? They don't like being called the Democrat Party. They like to be called the Democratic Party. So just as a little, just to get under their skin, just to poke them a bit. It's the Democrat Party.
Right, all the way. I mean, that's my life's ambition, is to get under their skin.
Get under their skin, that's right.
Let's have a look at what Trump actually did in the United Arab Emirates.
Oh, nothing, mate, nothing. He was
did
just having a bit of a week at Bernie's to us.
more than $200 billion in commercial deals during the visit, including a $14.5 billion commitment from Etihad Airways to invest in 28 American Boeings 787s and 777X aircrafts with GE engines. Emirates Global Aluminium will invest in a $4 billion aluminium smelter project in Oklahoma. So they're putting investment into the country.
Now, explain, because let's talk tariffs here for a moment, right? Aluminium, right? Was one of the big
Aluminum.
That's so good to say it. It was one of the big ones on that one because it did hurt Australian aluminium sales, right? Let's be honest, it did. But, getting a little short-term pain and you find other goals, right?
I'm going to come back against that, but I'll let you finish first.
My point is the fact that he's gone and he's brought that industry home. And end of the day, that's exactly what his mandate is to bring industry and manufacturing back and wealth back to the middle class. Imagine if the UK government, imagine if the German government, imagine if all these governments actually did that. The only governments I see doing that are, quite frankly, at the moment, they're actually looking after their people. I see the American government, obviously. I see
Argentina.
maybe Poland, Hungary, Italy's giving it a bit.
I'm
Argentina.
sorry, I have to say it. China.
Yeah.
I have to say it.
Yes. But
Let-
there's
let
a
me-
long
Nobody's
term-
been doing it.
Let me tell you why. Because China, I think, invests over the long term for the greater good.
Right.
Individual rights may not.
But I do
be so
take your
great,
point. Okay.
But look, where is the sense? We've all been saying this for years. Where is the sense that we ship iron ore from Western Australia and other parts of Australia, we'll talk about WA, to China, turn it into steel, and then ship it back?
Yep.
Now, with any product, the profit isn't just in the raw product, the profit's in the value add.
Of course it is.
Right?
Yeah.
So all those profits are being driven to China.
Yep.
Now, if we are so insistent on, not having the industry here in Australia, right? We're so insistent on hurting Australians. Okay, I don't accept that, but okay, if that's what the government wants to do, why would you not ship that industry to America, who's actually our more natural ally?
Of course.
Right.
Well,
Now,
profits.
with the tariffs that he's put onto Australia, we've got the lowest rate, 10%. I just want to remind everybody that he can't, and they don't really have the ability. It could be done, but it's very difficult. Yeah. The United States can't have a national sales tax like we have. We've got the GST.
Okay.
The UK's got the VAT. Our GST is at 10%. He's put Australian products coming into the US at 10%.
Yeah.
Like, it's not outrageous.
It's not outrageous at all.
Now, I don't think that he should be, well, I'll rephrase that. So he's had a crack at the beef exports from Australia and New Zealand. And he has made the comment that American beef is the best in the world. I'll forgive him for that. He's a New Yorker. Everything's the best, right?
Yeah.
Their beef is not as good as ours. I've been all over the world, and I can tell you that hands down, our agricultural produce is better than every other country in the world. I'll make one exception for the Japanese beef, where they feed them olives and massage them and all that, right? But other than that stuff, like, their stuff is, like, our stuff is the best in the world. Lamb, beef, eggs, dairy, the whole lot. I don't think that he should be coming after us for that. And some of the agricultural produce America produces, we can't take because of our unique fauna and flora.
Okay.
So
Also, we're disease free.
Yeah. So he does need to recognize that. But I actually don't think that what he's doing is unreasonable. And if you have a look at a lot of the tariffs, with the exception of China, you have a look at some of the tariffs that he's talked about, the countries that, when he's applying the tariffs, those countries have much higher tariffs on American goods. So it's not unreasonable for him to say, hang on just a bloody minute. Now, when do we get a politician that says that here in Australia?
Oh, hang on, no. We're happy for our lobster to go to, is it Japan or China? Pardon me.
China.
China. Okay. 400% is the tariff. 400%. Come on.
I want to just have a look at a quick thing. He also gave you, if you throw up this next slide there, who also was there. Well, this is interesting. Okay. It just wasn't the United Arab Emirates that were in attendance when he was at the UAE.
Okay.
There was also
the Prince of Saudi was on that one, but they had the Saudi flag up, so I assume that was
Syrian President Ahmed was there as well. And he announces in that, if you throw the picture up, you'll notice there that he also gave them a tariff-free 90-day break, like he did all the other nations, which erupted the whole building. What also is interesting, I think this is going a little bit under the radar.
The Islamophobe, right?
Yeah, of
This
course.
is a guy that was anti the Islamic world.
Oh, well, that's good politics,
Yeah.
mate.
And this,
Come on.
yeah,
Don't
how ridiculous.
forget about facts. Think about politics.
Check this out. This is really important. The US and the United Arab Emirates announced they would work together to construct the largest artificial intelligence data center outside of the US in Abu Dhabi, with the Emirati firm G42 building facility. It's going to cover 10 square miles and have a 5 gigawatt capacity. And that's what the Department of Commerce has released. This is huge that they are working on AI together.
It is huge.
The West and East.
But you remember I've been saying this
The Middle
over the
East.
years, right? So I go to the UAE. I'm in Dubai quite frequently. I go to Abu Dhabi, not as frequently as Dubai, but I go there from time to time. And I've been to the other Emirates, but I really like the UAE.
Okay.
And you look at the UAE. If you've ever fly with Emirates, you can actually watch this documentary on the Dubai airport, and you see the progress they've made. And what did they do? They basically just hung a shingle on the door and said, "You want to build something? You want to do something? Coming in."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you look at what they've achieved in especially in Dubai, like absolutely incredible. They should be really proud of what they've been able to achieve over a relatively short time, 30 years. Look, I first started going to Dubai about 15, 20 years ago. The progress that's been made since then has been huge. Now, while we teach our kids that, you chop your tits off and you're a boy, well, we teach all this trans stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
What they're teaching their kids? Computer programming,
Yeah.
right?
Well, it's slightly more productive.
When they want to build a big data center, whilst Dubai and the UAE employs a lot of foreigners, they're probably going to have locals working in those data centers, right? Probably can't do that in the US because you got to build a trans bathroom or something. Like, they're not going to know what they're doing. The UAE, China, Japan, all of these countries, that's what they're focused on.
Yeah. The actual priorities of moving forward and success.
Yeah.
Not because all of this other, the progressive left, I love that term, progressive left. Because it is regressive. It is absolutely regressive. That's what it is. You're going backwards in time.
If we have a look at the next one, he was off to Saudi Arabia. Travis, you throw the video up there. We don't need to listen to the footage on this, but it's interesting. Just show the visual. It was interesting to see what he did at Qatar. On Wednesday, he signed an agreement for investments between the two countries worth more than $243.5 billion, planning to increase investment to $1.2 trillion as they go. Now, what are they going to do? Doha is going to invest $10 billion in the US military facility and purchase $42 billion in weapons from the US. And Thursday, during his speech at the US military airbase in Qatar, Qatar Airways agreed to buy, next one, Trav, buy 210 Boeing jets worth $96 billion. That's representing the largest deal yet facilitated by Trump since he arrived in the Middle East.
Hang on a second, 96 jets worth
210 Boeing jets worth $96 billion.
That's $500 million. That's $500 million per plane.
Yeah, that's about right.
That sounds a bit high.
No, they are. Because, that's 7, whatever. The large aircraft that they're talking about, they've given to replace
The
Air Force
A380.
One, right?
Yeah.
That's worth $400 billion, so it kind of makes sense.
It's not worth $400 billion.
Apparently, no, that's the number they're
it's not
throwing
worth
around.
$400 billion.
I don't know. I don't buy a lot of planes.
That's not. No. No, it's worth $400 billion.
Did I say billion?
Yeah,
Oh,
400
sorry.
billion.
So sorry. So, yeah.
That's
Okay,
right.
I'll move my decimal point.
So I've got a bit of a question. If Trump's getting this sort of investment from Arabic countries coming into America, when Trump turned around and said he wanted to rebuild Gaza, how realistic is that to actually become true, considering the relationship that he's now building with all these Arabic countries?
Well, I was going to get to that. I was going to get to Israel later. I still want to go through some of these deals that he's doing, but that's a brilliant question.
Can I just say something real quick? I won't go to Israel. I'll just say something real quick. So the thing with the UAE, just in my experience, because I've been to many of the other Arab countries, is that the locals are very, I hate to use this term, liberal.
Okay.
They're very, very accepting of other people's cultures. So they don't force their own cultures on you.
Yep.
They don't force Islam on you or anything like that. They're very liberal, very tolerant,
You're allowed to,
and extremely friendly.
But okay, what about drinking though?
Yeah.
Yeah, but don't you kind of do that behind?
No, not in Dubai.
Okay.
Not at all. In some of the other Arab countries, yes,
Right.
but not in Dubai.
Okay. Didn't know.
So they've done a really great job of opening themselves up, and I think what you've seen is Qatar, definitely Saudi, and to a lesser degree Kuwait, saying, you know what Dubai is doing, we want that, right? And I think that's definitely the future, and for Donald Trump to be recognised that and saying, look, there's a lot of money to be made.
Mm-hmm.
The Arab countries are attracting people from all over the world, and they're attracting the best and brightest.
Right.
I mean, how many times did I say before I said to you I was going to move to Ireland, right? Because I went back in the EU. Where did I say I was moving? I said I was moving to Dubai,
I get that.
right?
Certainly, from what I've heard, it does sound like. I mean, look, tax incentives, obviously, but lifestyle. Lack of
I don't
time.
mind paying taxes. I actually don't mind paying taxes as long
If
as
you
it's
get
coming
your
back to
value,
me.
if you get
Yeah.
your value, yeah.
As long as it's paying for something. But my reason for moving to Dubai is not because of taxes. It's
Right.
because the lifestyle is so fantastic.
Okay.
The safety is brilliant. Like it's a great place to live.
The Grand Prix is crap, by the way. But apart from that,
Well, and the summer's a little hot.
Oh, okay.
I mean, my bald spot got sunburned. I mean, that's a bad sign. But no,
It's a solar panel.
but seriously, for America to want to improve its relationship with the Middle East is fantastic. And,
Of
it
course
wasn't
it is.
that long ago that I was saying, and many other people were saying, how long is it going to be before those Middle Eastern currencies depeg from the US dollar, right? And if they do, the petrodollar, the upward momentum that the US dollar gets because the fact that a lot of commodity products are priced in US dollars
Yes.
would drop away. So Trump improving that relationship is amazingly good for the United States.
What he's
Before-
also doing is getting into, again, the AI agreement. He's actually getting into, they did a deal, Qatari-based Arabian Capital signed an agreement with a Continuum computing company investing $1 billion in quantum technology and workforce development in the US.
Right.
All right. So that's going to happen over in the US.
Bring it home. So
And
to
then the
speak.
US also signed several defense-related agreements with Qatar, $1 billion deal to acquire drone defense technology from Raytheon RTX, and a $2 billion agreement for Qatar to purchase remote piloted aircraft from General Atomics.
Now,
So,
pardon me for actually forgetting the exact terminology that was used, right?
Yep.
But the when Trump was talking the other day, I think it was even just yesterday, about the fact of forever, I think it was forever enemies, okay, or something like that. He used some sort of term like that. Like
It
this
sounds very
attitude,
high schoolish, the way you've just put it.
yeah, but I think that's kind of how he put it, to be honest with you. No, but okay. Russia should not be our enemy anymore. What's the need for it, right? Okay, the Middle East shouldn't be America's enemy. There shouldn't be that going on. This whole attitude of just, we hated them 50 years ago, therefore we hate them now, is so childish at high school, right? It really is. How about we look at the positives and go, guess what? There's opportunities there to be had. Everybody can win out of it. Let's make it happen.
it's fascinating to see the relationship.
enemies forever,
Agreed. That's exactly
including
what
North Korea. No country should be our enemy forever.
Agreed.
It's fascinating to see how they've welcomed with that. Let's have a look at this next one. It's just a bit of kind of pomp and ceremony type of stuff, but they really go to town here. This is one where the guard is welcoming them in. Have a look at this one at the UAE.
Has Travis frozen? Or is
It's
it
just frozen.
very
We won't
bored?
have any dead air or anything.
there he
No,
is.
look at that.
Okay.
Okay,
There we
never
go.
mind.
The Vietnamese senses have cut him off.
That's right. Well, he is in a communist country. You never know what's going on over there. That is kind of how ludicrous this is. He's in a communist country. He's got a lot more freedoms than we have. There he is. Back
absolutely.
again.
Welcome
He's even
back.
moved himself around.
No, no,
He's
no.
come out with a leg.
My VPN decided to stop working for a minute, so I'm still here. What number were we up to?
Over there,
We-
they don't have a firewall, do they, in Vietnam?
Oh yeah, they've got a crazy one. Yeah,
Like
it's
same as
really
China.
Number
Okay.
5.
Yeah, right.
Number 5, there it is. All right, here she is.
They're even doing footage of the women wearing the hair around the world, which is
I'm sorry,
that traditional way of greeting.
I know it is, but I'm sorry. Show it.
Let's have a look. Let's have a
I
look.
normally think of that as another type of greeting.
show the footage you're talking about. You
Do
know
we have that? Do we have that?
I don't have that
What's
one.
that?
Oh, there
What's
we go.
that fruity shampoo? Fructose? That fruity
Yeah, I know the
shampoo?
way.
What it's called?
Herbal essence.
Herbal essence,
Why
right?
I'm mentioning the name of a shampoo.
You know that. You've got no hair.
I used to have
No,
gorgeous
Aaron.
to my ass.
Oh,
He had long hair too
So I
once upon a
did back in
time.
the day. Exactly. Now I use dishwasher
But
liquid.
but when those like I know it's a traditional thing, but like it does kind of like surely one of the hair care brands would take that.
No,
as
I
an ad.
disagree. I'm telling you right now, that is the entrance. That is the welcome that this man here Derek Whittaker gets every time he enters the room. It's unprecedented.
Well, I like the sense of humor that they demonstrated. If we look at the next video, check this out and listen closely to name that tune.
Okay. That's good.
So it takes sword
Oh, that's
dancing to a whole
terrible.
new level.
Oh, that's Shaq's anthem.
The Arabs don't
Mess around.
do that as like that often, and they certainly didn't do it for Biden.
No, they did not.
Right,
Well,
and
they're too
they
busy
didn't even
propping
do
him
it
up
for
with a
Trump
stick.
last time round. Like they didn't do it for Obama. That they genuinely, like, for them to be putting that on, it's not out of fear. Like they genuinely.
I think you bring a great
happy
point
about
up here
this.
because, okay, I think this time around, and I'm so strangely glad that that Trump wasn't. He didn't enjoy consecutive terms, right? I think the break was really, really good. We've actually got to, for those who actually have this crazy thing called critical thinking, right? We've been able to, I know, crazy, but we've been able to enjoy this and celebrate it. And those people, they realise, and those who are controlling that, they realise this is actually a time to celebrate. It's a great time of opportunity, like you always say there, without doubt. I mean, it's a great thing that Derek pushes forward. A lot of people look at doom and gloom or negativity, and most of the time it's actually opportunity.
I think he's a better president than what he would have been had the 2020
100%
election not
100%
been.
agree.
I can't use the term.
Borrowed.
Can we say it was stolen now? Can we say that or
No,
not?
it was
still-
borrowed.
He got more votes than Obama did. So, just do the numbers.
But there were a lot of 152-year-old people that voted that year. A lot.
But like seriously, I think had he have won that, because he would have still been stuck with Mike Pence. He still would have been stuck with a lot of people. Now he's got the people that
He's
he
got the
wants,
dream team.
right?
It's got the dream team.
Now, to be fair, some of them are a bit sycophantic sometimes. When you watch some of the,
Which ones?
well, all of them.
No, I want to get
No. Okay, so when you see when you see some of the footage, right, and you've got them all sitting there going, and I want to thank you, Donald Trump, for doing this. And like, it's pretty cringy. Like, let's be fair, it's pretty cringy. But at least he's got the right sorts of people around him.
I agree with that, but that's brand recognition, and that's like basically aligning yourself with a brand that works, and that's what they're doing because they're looking at their long-term future.
Yeah, I don't think you garner much respect from someone if you kiss their ass all the time.
I agree. I would rather disagree with
Except some
someone.
bad breath.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, what was that? I missed that.
Just some bad breath. Anyway, on that note, just going back,
level.
just going back to the ask-us thing that's happening in the UAE and the Arab countries and that. So the Crown Prince,
in the White House, not there.
Yeah. So the Crown Prince, I don't know if you guys saw this. He actually met Donald Trump on the tarmac as he got off the airplane, and there was another scene where they were driving around. And the Crown Prince is actually driving like a golf buggy with Donald Trump right next to him. And it was really funny because they've got their personal security guards behind them in this golf buggy looking around like they're big serious criminals in a golf buggy. It was just hilarious. But when you look at compared to Biden,
fist bump at the palace.
Yeah, so with Biden, he just sent an aide to go get him and brought him to him. So the total difference in how they're interacting is
the difference between the two presidents of this. One has got YMCA, right, and the other one had the Benny Hill theme. That's the difference.
The big difference is that one is actually respected, and the other one clearly wasn't.
The other one was being held up. Derek, we're going to go to the next video, I'm sure.
Well, let's just summarize what Saudi Arabia did in their deal. $600 billion in investments, $600 billion, 145 deals, $300 billion reportedly, an investor conference attended by US billionaires and prominent business executives. So what it's saying is not only did Trump go, but there's some big players in the investment world he took with him, right?
Yep.
One being Elon Musk. So all that money was going on. $142 billion agreement for the Saudis to buy military equipment and services for more than a dozen US defense firms. So they're getting in on the defense again. The $600 billion deal $600 billion investment includes $20 billion from Saudi Arabia firm DataVault for AI. Again, AI keeps coming up. Energy infrastructure, $80 billion technologies for both countries from Google, DataVault, Oracle, Salesforce, AMD, and Uber. $2 billion of work by American firms in Saudi infrastructure projects, King Salman International Airport, and Qiddiya City Entertainment Complex, part of the agreement. So again, real estate. Separate from the agreement, Elon does a deal to use Starlink across the nation for satellite services for aviation and maritime shipping.
Yep.
NVIDIA is going to sell 18,000 artificial intelligence chips to Saudi-backed company Humane. American-based AMD, $10 billion project with Saudi Arabia to provide chips and software for AI data centers, stretching from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to the United States. And Humane also announced deals with global AI, Cisco, and Amazon, building an AI zone in Saudi Arabia. This is big in terms of where the world's going in industry. AI,
Agreed.
AI.
Agreed.
And
Yeah. Well, AI is, the .com of the last one and all. There's always some.
No, AI is not .com. .com was an absolute fast. AI is genuine. Just on the tech side of things as well, just for the guys that people aren't quite as tech savvy. So a lot of people, I get a lot of questions about the difference between NVIDIA and AMD. So NVIDIA makes graphics cards. AMD makes processors like Intel. So Intel and AMD are direct competitors. NVIDIA works with them in conjunction. So one is the computer processing power, one is the graphics card processing power. So they're actually two different industry, sections of the same industry.
Yeah, thanks for clarifying that. I'm now so much more clear. That's brilliant. Thanks, Travis.
Do you want to play?
I've had those questions before, Mr. Technophobe.
I know, and I've asked you that question, and you've given me that answer before, and I still have absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
So one's for the screen, one's for the
I got that. I still don't know what the hell you're talking about.
let's go back to
Damn these old people.
I know. He's
hang on.
He's older than me. Yes. Yeah.
I just
1 month. More hair though. Just.
Let's hit the next one. What have we got coming up? Sorry, Dan.
That's all right. Travis hit the point earlier about where does Israel stand in this. Now, have a listen to Trump. Is he being frustrated by Netanyahu? Let's have a look at what he had to say to Fox News on this matter.
Did it all with Prime Minister Netanyahu?
No, look, he's got a tough situation. You have to remember there was an October 7th that everyone forgets. It was one of the most violent days in the history of the world, not the Middle East, the world, when you look at the tapes. And the tapes are there for everyone to see. So he has that problem. That problem should have never happened. Now, if I were president, that problem wouldn't have happened because Iran had no money. They were stone cold broke.
So this is really interesting. Where does this place Israel with all these deals going on in terms of AI, military and defense, steel? It's going to be really fascinating.
I'm very curious to what the answer is here because, okay, the financial world has always had a little Israel in it.
That's one way of putting it. You come out with your anti-Semitic comment here and just say the Jews around the world. Just come out and say it.
No. That was a very carefully crafted statement.
10 points, Aaron. 10 points.
Travis, your thoughts?
I honestly don't know. There's so much bullshit being spoken about it. There's so many videos on YouTube like who's going to win the war, who's doing better, who's killing children, who's not killing children, who's hiding in hospitals and all this sort of stuff. I think it's one of those situations where you just need to cut the cord and just start afresh. Because if you keep going back, this war has been going on for 3,500 years. So I think both sides need to just say, right, enough's enough. Let's come to the table, do a peace deal, and rebuild. Because it's not just like Gaza Strip that's been absolutely demolished. There's also a lot of damage on the other side as well. It's just Israel's in a better position to fix themselves up after the rocket attacks and stuff like that. So, I think I'd hate to see how many people have died over the whole period of this conflict.
Well, Israel wouldn't be in such a great position if it wasn't for the assistance of the West.
Of course.
I'm going to say a few things here. So, firstly, like it should be acknowledged that the British went in and annexed that area.
Yeah.
Right. It should also be acknowledged that it's something that I say, and everyone piles on me for saying it. But in one of the speeches that Hitler made, he said we have to deal with the Jewish problem.
Yes.
Now, I'm not
I remember
saying that there's a Jewish problem in Europe. I have no issues with
You
Jewish
just
people at
stated
all.
what was said.
But that's what he said.
Yeah.
Now, after the end of World War II, when the Nazis were, defeated, well,
Yeah.
they weren't even really defeated because they kept East Berlin and everything for all those years, right? It wasn't until Reagan when the wall came down.
Yeah.
Right. But after the war was won, where did all those Jewish people go? They were just basically shipped off to Israel, right?
Yeah.
So Europe never really dealt with that issue. And
No,
I think
just exported it.
I think what you've got now, you've got this situation with Benjamin Netanyahu is somebody that we kind of like and relate to because he speaks perfect English. He grew up and was educated in America, right? So he gets it. He's the leader of Israel. Domestically, there are allegations of corruption and all those sorts of things.
There are.
Right. And because this has gone on so long, there's, I think, a question amongst some people who I used to be very dismissive of in the past, but there is now becoming a question of, well, at what point have they done enough to deal with Palestine? And I think the big question that the world has to answer, and anybody who looks at this issue has to answer for themselves, is what do you think the end result should be? Now, my entire life, we've been told that we should have a two-state solution, right?
That's been the number, yeah.
Should we have a two-state solution? Well, how does that work? What does a two-state solution look like? Does Palestine have its own air force, its own airport and military? Like what are we talking about?
Well,
Should it be a one-state solution where they all mix in? So I don't know. I'm not an expert in this subject.
Neither am I.
But I will say this. Whatever happens, it has to happen with the consent of the Middle Eastern countries and the West.
Yeah.
We shouldn't tolerate this kind of human abuse and
No way in the world.
human life being lost, right? Regardless of who's right or wrong, right? Innocent people are being hurt. We need to do something about that. I'll just say very quickly, when Donald Trump was president last time, the first time I'd ever seen this, I was in the airport in Dubai, and Emirates had direct flights to Israel. Now, in the past, I've never been to Israel, to be fair, or Palestine for that matter. But in the past, from what I understood, if you went to Israel, they wouldn't actually stamp your passport because if they did, you wouldn't be able to go to any other Middle Eastern country. And none of the Middle Eastern countries had direct flights.
No way.
And after Donald Trump became the president last time, Emirates, and I believe Etihad as well, but I know I saw it at the Dubai airport, that Etihad had direct flights. And there were Jewish people that were flying in from Israel into Dubai. So who's driving peace more? It's definitely Donald Trump than any other president I've seen.
That's black and white. We can say that very, very clearly.
Mm.
Look,
Derek?
I think it puts Israel in a very interesting sort of situation. This whole thing. I mean, there are some people who are saying that the Zionists are running Israel at the moment and that sort of thing. Now that's kind of like the Democrats were running the United States for 4 years ago, or whatever, how long? For 4 years, I should say.
Well, the deep state more than the Democrats. Right?
So I think separating the people from the politics always very important. Making that distinction. I think I don't think this two-state solution is a solution.
No,
I don't think it'll work.
We've been ramming it on for my entire lifetime. It's never happened. It's never worked.
To me, it should work.
But I think it's interesting how America moves forward in its relationship with Israel. That's what I'd be watching here, because I mean, I don't know sometimes if some of these people know what they're letting out of the genie out of the box type of thing, especially when you're looking at stuff like doing deals with AI involved. We don't know what AI is capable of. And Elon has warned us saying, hey, you let this out, it's going to take a life of its own. It's learning about us every single day, et cetera, et cetera.
I've seen the Terminator movies.
Yeah. The whole Starlink thing and all that. Yeah.
We'll be fine.
We'll be fine. Trump is inventing stuff that, quite frankly, I go, well, no, sorry, not Trump. Elon is launching some stuff. You go far out. This whole microchips on brains and stuff like this. It sounds all great, but can you imagine this combined with quantum computing, AI?
It doesn't sound great. It doesn't sound
in
great.
nefarious hands. Yeah. I go, well, caution. So from a business perspective, all this sounds wonderful. Yeah. But what are we getting into? And that's what I'm wondering here.
But you can say caution, but it's going to happen.
You can't stop it.
I'm not.
It's
If America doesn't do it, somebody else is going to do it. I get it.
You know, something you said will be fine. I don't agree. Okay, I think that quite frankly, I'm the last generation of people who was, you know, going to actually enjoy this earth a little bit. Like Gen X.
Here we go.
No, I mean it. Gen X, we're the last ones who had a decent crack
bloody
at this.
Boring, old, conservative people as they get older get so conservative.
We
You know
do.
what? I'm gonna give you a book where they were complaining about, right?
Yeah.
That because the printing press had come out,
I've read this.
and they didn't have to write books by hand, that anybody could print whatever they wanted and be flooded with rubbish information that would destroy society, right?
I agree with what you just said, because I've read that.
Right. So,
But I
so
do
this is the
think
time. This is the issue of our time. You're sitting there going, "Oh, AI, oh, it's terrible, blah blah." Like you want to go back and
We
sing.
use it. We use it here, and I hate using it. I feel dirty every time we use
Bull
it.
duck. Bull duck. You love it.
they
You love it. I've seen you go, oh my God, that's so awesome. And then go off on a tangent and doing stuff. You lie.
When it's saving me time, it's awesome.
Okay,
right?
look,
But-
I acknowledge music's changed, for example,
Yeah.
right? But I don't think there's that many people that want to keep listening to, you know, I'm sitting in a Yellow Submarine by the Beatles, like you're
Good
into.
track.
It's like,
Okay.
it's like
There's a reason it's called Fossil FM.
I read my lips right now.
any
What's the other song the
technology
band
can be
played on?
any technology can be used for good or evil.
Yeah.
It's simple. Radio can be used for good or evil. Television can be used for good or evil. The internet can be used for good or evil. All right. Not saying it's all bad, but it's like, whoa, we're going there. And it can compute a lot faster.
I'm not
than
saying
what
it's
we've
all
been
bad.
used to.
I'm just saying that, okay, I really, it's very, to me, it is sad that people don't have a life that's non-digital now, right? You know, get outside, take your shoes off, walk in the grass, right? And people just don't do this.
But that's the same argument that people made about the calculator. That instead of using the thing, you know, the grid.
abacus.
Yeah,
Abacus,
right.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
So
What
I
do you-
actually disagree with you there, Aaron.
See, because the
Aaron?
problem with the argument is we're going to end up with what the longshoremen, whatever they're called, that union strike that they had in America under Biden,
Oh,
right?
no, that's not what I was going to
Now,
okay.
No, one of the things that they struck for, and one of the things that they put as a condition was that AI could not be used on the docks,
Right.
right?
Bullshit.
And people sit there and say, generally people on the right, that say, oh, yeah, it's going to cost jobs. Well, here's another way of putting that. Yes, it's going to cost jobs,
Yeah.
but we're going to have artificial jobs that we don't need to have because we've got technology to do it better,
Yep.
which means that I and everybody else has to pay more to keep these people employed in an industry that could have been improved.
So what happens when 90% of the population of the earth doesn't have a job anymore?
Yeah, and that's the same
And they
argument.
don't
It won't
have-
matter.
Hundreds
They
of
have
years.
purpose.
They've made that
Aaron.
argument for hundreds of years. Human beings are never going to sit around singing Kumbaya because the machines are doing everything for us.
No, they're going
We'll find some other shit that we need
horizontal
to do.
thumbs. They're going to be all they're going to do is spend time on their phones in front of a screen, living in an artificial life. I mean, look, I'm
No,
single right
not
now.
going to happen. It's not going to happen. Aaron,
I know.
Aaron, it's not going to happen, and I'll explain to you why. So I'm one of the most
Some other
techie
crap.
people you will meet. Like I just think I'm. This is really bad. I actually plan to buy one of the Optimus robots the moment it comes out. I think those things are fucking hilarious. Sorry, I think they're amazing. I think they're going to be great. I
Well,
think
he
they're
likes
going
one
to
of
be
the robot
brilliant.
girlfriends.
I do.
No.
What?
So this is how little you guys actually know. This is an Optimus.
You want
Video
processing?
So if you guys would shut up for a minute and actually listen.
It's not important.
So if you would actually shut up and listen for a moment, you would actually understand that Optimus Robot is an actual full autonomous like android that will walk around and do stuff for you. No, it doesn't have the bits. It's not a sex robot. So the point is, as I'm getting more and more comfortable financially, I'm finding I'm going outside and doing a lot more and spending less time on social media. I find that the reasons people spend so much time on social media is an escape from their normal everyday life. So if
Great
their
point.
everyday work job was easier and they were more productive and they actually had more job fulfillment outside of work, they'd be able to interact with people more and have a much greater family life balance because you're not required to do those stupid 12-hour days just to cover your bills. So I think this AI movement is actually going to make things a hell of a lot easier for people. People are actually going to be more productive and they're going to spend more time with families.
When I got my little life balance thing going right in my life, okay, I work 16 hours a week and I spent all this time with my family and really focused on my family, is the happiest time I've ever had, right? The happiest. because I got my work life thing going. So I get that. And I worked a lot less, but I was very lucky, I was able to make a full-time wage on 16 hours a week, right? So you might be right, is what I'm saying. And guess what? It's nice to be open to different opinions and ideas.
Hang on a minute.
Think about it this way. So
Less
hang on,
well than I did, and you agree with him and say he's right, but you don't agree with me. You think I'm wrong.
100%.
Bloody
yeah. So think about it this way. So with the advancements in the workplace, so you got robots, you got AI making things faster, and it's going to start taking people's jobs. Do you really think those advancements aren't going to make their way into the family home? All of a sudden, you're not cleaning as often yourself because you've got an AI robot that can clean the toilet for you. You got robots that will do the dishes for you, or do the cooking for you, all that sort of stuff. So all of a sudden, all those household jobs that you have to do, you know how they do this thing, or if you paid your housewife, the wage of what you pay someone, it's like $800,000 a year. Well, if you've got a robot taking all of that task, I don't know, I'm just making shit up now, but if you were to have something that took that away from, imagine if every single house had a maid or a butler or an assistant that did all that crap for you, how much time could you then actually spend with your loved ones building on your relationship and your work-life balance at home as well? So I just think not only is it going to make business more efficient, if it's going to make your business more efficient, I think it's going to make your home more efficient as well. So you've got more time for interpersonal relationships within the family. It's going to make educating your kids easier. It's just going to make every aspect of your life easier, not just your work. And I've lost the job.
Well, I can't let you get away with this. I need to
here we go.
I want to work on Aaron a bit more, right? So Aaron,
It's all right.
He's getting a little bit pudgy.
let me tell you how this will improve humanity, right? If you get one of your sex robots that you're talking about, right?
I don't
And the sex robot is gorgeous and it doesn't give you a hard time. It doesn't nag you. It doesn't carry on, right? Women are going to get really upset because all men are going to start going with these sex robots. And then women will start to realize, I'm going to upset like half our audience. Women are going to realize that nagging men is not a good idea because they go to the sex robots. And all of a sudden, we'll have women that don't nag us and are hot all the time. It'll improve humanity.
It's a Christmas miracle.
It's brilliant.
Okay. And on that bombshell, do we have any other videos?
Derek doesn't want to say a word.
No.
We do have one. We do have one image left over.
Hey, let's throw
And it's
it
kind
in
of funny because after those really sexist comments from Shaq,
why not?
here you go.
I'm not sexist at all.
Is that the Iranian one? There we go. Isn't that amazing? What a difference.
Back in 1971. Now, look,
I've got pictures like this from Afghanistan, Iraq, etc.
I've got them from Picture magazine.
Now, it's interesting, the little political slogan it says at the bottom there, destroy the CIA and scatter it to the winds. But it's interesting, that's the sentiment that's coming from some sectors of society.
Yeah.
But look, the image that we've been giving about the Middle East and where it's as and where it is and where it's come and how it's gone, that kind of changes your paradigm big time.
Sure does.
Well, to be fair, for those people that want to blame America and the West for everything, there was an Islamist revolution, which certainly affected this stuff.
Yeah, no question.
But yeah, women had far more rights than what they have now in a lot of those countries.
Yep.
But that's why I'm really impressed with what the UAE is doing. I think Saudi will become more liberal. I mean, they've started already, but I think they'll become a lot more liberal. I mean, they've got nightclubs there now. It's like the new Bali of the world is Saudi.
Really?
So like these countries are becoming a lot more liberal, and I think that's great. I think the women should have, obviously for our audience, I was joking around before. I think that women should have rights. They should be treated equally. They should be able to drive.
Right.
They should be able to wear what they want to wear.
I'm going to finish the show on those beautiful words from our feminist friend here. Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Mr. Carter, for your efforts there from Vietnam, right? Always a pleasure. So sorry, Derek. I really am. At every level of the show. Last thoughts before I hit the old go button.
Are you
Feels
glad
like an episode of The Goon Show today.
Are you glad I'm back?
Oh, look who we invited. Enough said, okay.
It's all right. I promise I am actually leaving tomorrow.
Oh, mate, we'll miss you.
And I'm going to another country, so it's all right.
Jeez. And just watch out other countries. That's all I can say on that one. Thanks for being part, of course, of the greater wealth here. And before we do that, very quickly, get onto this, man. Get on to Blue Sky Factory. This is the best education you will ever get. It will change your life. don't waste another minute. There's contact details there that Travis is going to put up on the screen. But we are out of here. Thank you so much for being part of the Greater Wealth here at Edge Radio Australia.